morning, YouTube. You join me in the kitchen yet again for another pre-workout meal. Today we've got 60 grams of rice, we've got a wrap, we've got 150 grams of chicken, which is in the air fryer, 10 grams of dark chocolate, and 125 grams of mango. Slight change to the food today because we're doing a build and bait protein with the post-workout meal. So it's going to be slightly different macro-wise to what it'd usually be pre-workout. I think it's slightly higher on the carbs, slightly lower on the fats, and then we're going to go through our upper session. It's going to be a bit more talking to the camera during the session compared to normal, a bit more focused on the training today, and just talking through different things we're doing within our training. Still no changes to food so far this off season, so we're still sitting at 2,750 calories on a train day, 2,420 on a rest day, as body weight is still slowly coming up. I weighed in at 69.5 this morning, which is up after a rest day, which tends to be happening after my rest days, which is slightly annoying. It's a bit of a jump, but it'll probably come down within the next day or two with being back on training day food. So we're now 3 weeks post-show, and we're about 4 kilo up in body weight on the dot, which is okay. It's a little bit quick, so hopefully we will see that slow down. I was off work last week, so expenditure was slightly lower than normal in terms of the steps I were doing weren't as hard, whereas now we're back at work, so the steps we are doing are as hard as they normally are. We're back into normal routine, so hopefully we'll see that rate again slow down a bit. Right guys, so we have our pre-workout meal chefed up. Same as normal guys, don't know who needs to hear this. Air fryer wraps, it'll make your meal much better. Gonna get us 8, we're gonna make our pre-workout sups, which we'll go through, and then we're gonna go into uppers. Right, hopefully you can hear us. Something I've started prescribing in to each session is 10 to 15 minutes walking at the start and end of each session. Now at the start, I spend that time logbooking, planning out my session, visualising it, not really on my phone at all, besides actually going through my sheets, looking at my numbers, looking at what I did last session, and then going, right, okay, this is what I'm going to do this session. And it tends to take the emotion away from what I am doing in the gym. I've already decided, right, I'm going to go in, I'm going to lift X weight, and then whatever reps I get, but it takes the emotion away from before the set, the anxiety. It just allows me to actually go in and attack my set, attack the number. I'm not worried about what I'm doing because I already know what I'm doing before the session. Starting off, we've got a single arm row on the prime row. Got 25 loaded on the top and middle pegs, so it's going to get heavier as we're lengthening the lats, which is going to match the strength profile of the lat. Second set is all top pegs, so it's going to be really heavy in length and it's going to drop off quite a bit in the short, so it's going to get a bit more. I'm going to be using pretty much the same load, but it's just going to allow us to actually, as we get fatigued, still be able to fully shorten the lat under the same load. This, obviously, we are strapped in as normal with all back movements, and we are just thinking about pulling the elbow down to the hip, not coming past the rib cage, just really pulling down into the pocket, and then as we're coming forward, just thinking about reaching forward whilst keeping that shoulder fixed, fully emptying the lat, slight pause at the bottom, then big drive back down into the hip. Something you should be doing as well if you're not already, when you're doing anything single arm, is taking a minute or two between sides, purely because you're not going to recover from your right side to your left immediately. You're going to need a minute or two in order for your body's energy systems to recover a bit, for you to be able to match reps on the other side. Something you might notice is when I'm doing my sets, shoes are off, stability starts from the floor. If your movement's more stable, you're going to get more out of it. Right, moving on to our set and back exercise, we have got the T-bar row. Absolute king of upper back movements, going overhand, so elbows are going to be flared between 45 and 90 degrees the whole time. With this, the way I like to think about my T-bar is almost separating it into two movements. You've got that initial sort of like shrug and retraction of the scapula, and then you've got the actual ruin driving the elbows back. With this, we're trying to get as much retraction and protraction at the scapula as we can, so we're lengthening the traps as much as we can at the bottom, and then driving back, really trying to pinch those shoulder blades together. Something you will also notice I do between sets is a bit of walking back and forth. Got a 3-minute rest period, that's a couple of 100 steps that I could get. It's just going to help me hit my daily step targets. For one who struggles to get your steps in, something to think about doing. So again, combined with that 15-minute walk before and after your session, a couple of thousand during, you're already at 5-6k steps just during your session without adding much time onto your session, if any. So moving on to our pull down, where we are trying to bias the lats, we are going to be thinking again about pulling elbows down to your hip. So rather than pulling like in the archer, where it's forcing our elbows flare out, we're thinking down more into sort of the lower ribs, elbows driving down towards pockets. As we come up, keeping the wrist slightly supinated in, so elbows, shoulders are going to stay fixed, driving elbows down, and we're not taking tension off the lat at the top by allowing our shoulders to round. We potentially have the goat of all shoulder movements, the lion cuff lateral, potentially the best shoulder movement of all time. If you want to grow your side delts, get yourself on the lion cuff lateral raise. With this, what we're thinking about doing is reaching away from the shoulder joint the whole time. That's going to limit the amount of shoulder elevation we get, so the whole time we're thinking reaching down, reaching out, away from the body, once we're on the shoulder, back down, just to limit the amount of shrugging we get, because what you'll find when people bend their arms when they're just thinking about going up, they'll naturally raise at the shoulder joint, which is going to involve the traps. So I'm going to limit that by reaching away from the body. Moving on, we have got our low incline press. So last time I think we got 6, 32.5, right between 6 to 8, so the goal is to hopefully get it. With this, just elbows flare between 45 and 90 degrees, only real direct chest work this session. We have got the prime shoulder press. Now this is the first rotation on this because I have been using the Atlantis, but then wanted us to switch to the prime shoulder press. What it's going to allow us to do is change resistance profile. So first set's going to be more mid-lengthened, and then second set is going to be like pretty much all in the lengthened range. So it should allow us to get a bit more out of the shoulder at this point in the session, since we're already on lateral raise and we're already on our press. Second and last movement, got the prime dip. So cam setting free, so back into the session now, so really fucking fatigued in that short position, so majority of the challenge is in the lengthened, so we're going to get a bit more out of the movement than we would if we just had it on cam setting 105. So main thing with this, we are facing away from the machine, so we've got a seat belt, keep us fixed in. The reason we're doing this, just allows us to get a bit more flexion at the elbow as it comes back towards the top of the movement, compared to if we're facing that way, where it would force us more into a bit of humeral glide, a bit of stress on the shoulder joint. So facing this way, we're just going to get a bit more out of the movement. Right, so before we move on to the final movement, be rude not to do a pump reveal, wouldn't it? Final movement there is an incline curl. So first set we've got 55-degree incline, second set we've got 35-degree incline. So all that's going to do is make it more challenging at the bottom and ease up at the top on the second set. So we should be able to get a little bit more out of the bicep. So, as always, after every session, we're doing a round of posing because we're keeping it in during the off season. So next time we prep, we're even better at posing than we were. Workout we are having the dark chocolate and Biscoff Build and Bake Proatie. In here there's 400 calories and 23 grams of protein. On the side we're also going to have 45 grams of whey just to balance out the macros for the day and make it actually fit into the macros, because usually this would be cream rice, berries and whey, but we're having the Build and Bake Proatie instead. Yeah, we're gonna get scranned. There'll be a short that's already uploaded of the review, so you're gonna have to go watch that, see how it is. But other than that, that is going to be it for the video. Hope you've all enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment if you've made it this far, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.